Hi, I just want to bring a message to you which I felt the Lord gave me this morning, and the title is How to Live in the Time of Antichrist, or How to Live Under the Antichrist. I believe the Lord has an end time plan for believers very similar to what happened at the beginning in the second chapter of Acts Church. The first church was birthed in troublesome times. Rome had invaded and subjugated Israel and was a type of Antichrist government. The first century church had to live during a time of persecution, but one of the strategies of survival was having a common purse and having belongings in common. For many decades, I've held this idea, call it what you may, believers selling their properties, those who are homeowners, pooling resources and buying up land and property in far out of the way places to establish communities. Communities of self-sustaining and open to believers who wish to join these sanctuaries. I thought of the cities of refuge in the Old Testament. These were set apart for fugitives that had to flee their homes if they'd accidentally killed someone without malice. God ordained these cities of refuge, and I think if we are attentive and open to God, He'll reveal His end time plan to us. Another historic illustration comes to mind of the Belarusian Jews during the Holocaust, headed up by three brothers who established a place of safety and refuge in the depths of a forest. You can watch the film Defiance, which tells their story, or read their book. The three decided that they were not going to lie down and be victims, and therefore pioneered what would become a fortress village hidden in the depths of the Belarusian forest. Initially, they didn't envisage opening up to a large number, but as word got out to desperate fellow Jews, hundreds began to trickle in. Only a few died, over 1,000 survived, having lived in this community. So as we face desperate times coming very soon, we need to act now. Cashlessness and the mark of the beast are around the corner. The story of Joseph is also an inspirational example of God's forethought about His people in times of extreme hardship. Joseph was sent by God ahead of his family into Egypt in order to become the means of deliverance for them and many others. I find it interesting that the number 7 appears several times in the Bible with regard to famines, and Elisha warned the Shunammite lady, her son and household, to leave Israel to find somewhere to sojourn for 7 years, as a famine was about to start in 2 Kings chapter 8. Some may say, what about evangelizing? Or shouldn't we just sit tight and wait for martyrdom? Maybe by this very act of sharing and caring, this could be a powerful witness. Also, refusing to worship the Antichrist will be a witness. The early church fled persecution where they could in order to continue spreading the gospel. They are our example. If they could stay alive, they did, in order to fulfill the Great Commission. I know many in the church believe in a pre-tribulation rapture. Therefore, don't see any of the above as relevant. Let me just say, a large percentage in our world are and have been under great persecution. They live under tyrannical Antichrist governments. So the argument that God doesn't allow His children to suffer and die for Him is unbiblical. It's a false doctrine, and many have accepted it as truth. There isn't one shred of evidence in the scripture of its validity, but quite the opposite. Jesus said, "In the world you will suffer tribulation and persecution," and warned us of the great tribulation at the very end. Great in so much as it will simultaneously cover the whole world. We should expect it and be prepared for it. God often gives a window of opportunity just prior to tribulation for us to make arrangements, as he did to the Shunammite woman and her family in 2 Kings chapter 8. It may not be a lot of time, as we see with Lot and his family. He had to flee Sodom and head for the mountains. Mountains were not heaven, neither was Noah's ark. Both godly men had to come out the other end, still on earth, to continue their mortal lives, which, as we read, presented difficulties, trials, and challenges. So in summing up, please prayerfully consider this presentation. Feel free to contact Nigel and myself regarding the possibility of building something along these precepts with us. If not, certainly consider doing something along these lines. The window of opportunity may be very narrow. Move on it now while you have the chance. And if you want to get in touch with us, Nigel's email address is nigelcarder@yahoo.com. Lowercase nigelcarder@yahoo.com. And bless you all, and I'll be interested in any of your responses to this. God bless.